Good evening, humans. Tyrannosaurusmoth here, and tonight we're taking a look at the Power Rangers Lightning Collection Mighty Morphin Yellow and Red Ranger Swap Pack from Hasbro. This was a Hasbro Pulse exclusive, and there's a lot of new cool stuff going in here. There's one thing I'm not so much a fan of, but we'll get into that. So let's talk about these figures. Let's do this. Aesthetically speaking, these figures look great, and by and large, they are the Power Rangers Lightning Collection mold, certainly for kind of a lot of the basic Rangers that we've seen time and time again. However, they've done some really nice tweaks here, which are probably a sign of things going forward, and that's honestly a very good sign. So actually, I'll start off with the helmets, and right off the bat, we're getting the new improved helmets. So these are the ones that we saw on the Metallic Rangers. So the proportions are all fixed. They look a little more accurate to what they should be, and that's obviously very, very much welcome. And in promo pictures, it looked like Trini's helmet might have looked a little big, but it's definitely not. Especially once you have it in hand, it looks proportional. And so there's that. The other new addition is pinless joints. So both figures are completely pinless, and that definitely adds the aesthetic. It makes just look a little bit smoother. So very nice addition there. And as you can see, this is the new female buck. So we actually get bicep swivel and double jointed elbows, which also helps with the proportions of the arms themselves for the female Rangers, which is something I've been hoping for a while. So I'm glad that that's kind of commonplace now for this line. And I think that's about it. The only other difference I can think of really here is the belt. So now instead of having them sculpted in, they're doing a tampo in the for the coin, and makes it a little bit clearer. Like you can definitely see that is the saber tooth, and Jason's gonna be falling over here. There we go. Just gonna put him down, and then we can see T-Rex right there. So it's a little bit clearer. You don't have to worry so much about the sculpt. So it might be a preference thing there as to whether you prefer them being sculpted in or the tampos. But overall, just really a great looking set. When it comes to accessories, we get a rather robust yet largely familiar accessory set, stuff we're used to seeing certainly with these Rangers in particular. Definitely not a bad thing. So let's actually look at the similarities first. And I guess the one shared piece, or not shared piece, but they duplicated it, was the blade blasters, and we get all three modes. So we do get our standard blaster mode, we get blade mode, and we get our sheathed mode. So really cool that we get all three with both Rangers. So you can double up on that, or you can share these amongst your other figures, certainly if you're looking for the sheathed blasters, which I know a lot of us were. So that's really cool. Then we have seen the signature weapons before. So we do get, Trini, now Jason's daggers, pretty much the same as they were before. Though these do feel a little more gummy than the previous ones did. I might be wrong in that, but these definitely feel like they have a little more give them. And I don't know if that's memory just not serving me or what. Then we get the power sword, and there's a little downgrade here with this power sword because we do not have the gold lining here at the hilt. As you can see, here's the original power sword. So, a little bit sad that's not there. But it is what it is. Again, the cost saving being what it is at this point in time. So there's that. We get effects pieces with both. With Trini, we actually get this effects piece we originally saw with Goldar, I believe, in purple. Now here it is in blue. So that's nice. Then we get the same effect piece that we got with the original Trini figure for the just straight up MMPR, and just set in this purple plastic. I think it was a different color for the original. So there's that, and that's very nice. Then for individual parts, we'll start with Trini, and right out of the box, we get some gripping hands. So what we've seen with a lot of the other female Rangers before, kind of the clawed doubles as gripping hands. Then we get a right chopping hand and a left fist. And then of course we get Trini's civilian head, and this is of the comic version of her. It looks very, very nice. So obviously, it looks a little plasticine. It looks like more like the actual art, which is definitely a nice touch and what would be expected from this set. And then for Jason, again, standard with what we see with the male Rangers, we get those kind of semi-posed, semi-trigger hands, gripping hands right out of the box. And then we get a couple of fists. And then finally, of course, we get the comic version of Jason's face, which again, done very well. And again, kind of very toy-like, kind of shinier than we're used to seeing with the civilian heads. But it is, again, supposed to be a comic version, so it can be excused for not being super realistic. So that's accessories. Articulation overall here is very nice with some very nice additions. However, this is where my biggest issue with this set lies, and it's something I kind of hope they don't keep going with as they go forward. And one thing I was going to say is that these are pretty much the same articulation schemes as you know, male and female figures should be, which is awesome. That's probably one of my favorite parts of this, is like, you know, the articulation is pretty much the exact same thing. However, we're going to get it's going to be right off the bat here. My issue with what the change they made, and that is with the heads. They're no longer on the ball hinge. It is now a ball joint with a separate neck piece. And while that allows the proper range to get the actual neck height correct, it completely kills the range on the head. Like, they can't look up at all. Like, you can't shift it back or anything. The neck piece doesn't really move. I've heated these up a lot and just nothing. We don't really even get any tilt. So really, I know that, you know, they've been trying this with the Lightning collection for a few figures, but like this, the arrangement does not work for the standard Ranger bodies, at least for me. Like, I really want more movement out of that neck and head assembly, and just nothing. So, you know, it's there, but it's definitely worse than it was before. I kind of wish they just kept with extending the neck and then keeping that ball hinge. However, we move and we get really nice and generous butterfly joints. Then we have hinge and swivel at the arms, so we can strike RT with both figures. We have bicep swivel on both figures. We have double jointed elbows on both figures. We have hinge and swivel. Actually, the gripping hands are vertical hinge, pardon me, on both figures. So that's also very, very much welcome. We got our ball joint at the diaphragm, and then our ab crunch at the waist. And I didn't notice until now I was doing this. This is definitely a new sculpt, certainly for the female Rangers, where we have the seam lines on the front. However, it's also filled out a little bit more, so we're not getting the deep crunch that we have gotten with other female Rangers. So we're getting about that far forward, still getting some really nice arch back, but a little sad to not have that space to kind of get a deeper crunch. Get down to the hips. We do have drop downs, which we've been seeing on a few other figures, starting with the TMNT crossovers, and that allows us to get full splits. So that's very much welcome in this line. We get to the thighs. We do have thigh swivel, double jointed knees, folding completely in, not folding completely in half. As I say that, it kind of runs into itself, and you can kind of see how the sculpt works there. And there's this little notch that's kind of keeping it from going. So that is what it is. We have, boot swivel, perfect point, some really nice forward, and of course that rocker that we expect. So overall, very, very nice. I really do not like the new head assembly that they're doing. It just does not work for me. That and the loss of the crunch for the female Rangers. Male Rangers pretty much the exact same thing. Like I said, all of that. The leg range is a little bit deeper here. And I will say that Jason is definitely all the joints are a lot looser here, and it just doesn't feel like there's as many detents in the joints. So that might be it. But you know, same thing with the head, no up. Even less down than Trini. Actually, yeah, like just can't do anything vertically, and that's just sad. The neck definitely moves a little bit more here, but overall, not a fan of that. So yeah, that's articulation. Getting into size comparisons, here they are with some other Lightning collection, with some other Hasbro and some Mattel, with some imports, with some monsters. Finally, with our articulated icons, Oni and yours truly in human form as a Valaverse Action Force figure. So my final thoughts on the Power Rangers Lightning Collection Jason and Trini swap set is it's a pretty solid set. There's some really good stuff going on. I like the ambition that they have with the new articulation schemes. As I had said before, the only thing I don't like is that they kind of ruin the head articulation, and that makes me sad. It definitely helps with the proportions and the looks of the figures, but completely kills the head articulation, which is, you know, would definitely help in a lot of different poses. So hopefully they go back to the ball hinge for the neck, and everything else should honestly stay the same. Like everything else about these figures is fantastic. And not only that, but if you are looking to have a Lightning Collection Z Ranger set, then you've got that here because you've got, you know, a male Yellow Ranger. So definitely recommend it. You know, if you're collecting Lightning Collection, if you are following the comics and you like this story arc, or this just kind of appeals to you, absolutely pick this up. It is a Hasbro Pulse exclusive. I believe it is still available, so I will have a link in the description below to where you can pick that up, which would be Hasbro Pulse. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you found this review informative and somewhat entertaining. If you did, please consider liking, commenting, subscribing, all that sort of stuff. I am on the long road to 1,000 subs, so any help with that I greatly appreciate. So yeah, so I hope to see you here again. I do multiple videos a week of, you know, toku, dinosaurs, monsters, pro wrestling figures, all of that. So yeah, please join me and let's talk about some figures. So please take care of yourself, take care of those around you, and most importantly, stay weird, simians.